Are you ready to say goodbye to being broke and broken? Well, my friend, if you answered yes, you are in the right place. At Prosperity is My Portion. It is more than a podcast. It's a movement empowering individuals to break free from the chains of poverty and build a life of generational prosperity. Each episode features inspiring stories, insights, and practical advice on overcoming financial challenges and achieving success. You will be equipped with the tools and knowledge you need to transform your life, your family, and your community. We will explore a wide range of topics from deepening your relationship with God, finances, and your overall well-being. This podcast is for anyone seeking to improve their financial situation, grow spiritually, and live a life of abundance. You guys, welcome back to another episode of Prosperity is My Portion. I am your host, Kiara Janae. I'm an author, entrepreneur, and legacy strategist. And poverty ran in my family until it ran into me. Welcome back again. Listen, I got to tell you something. I really just had to have a real, honest conversation with myself and God. And I picked up a notebook last night. And in the notebook, it was dated August of 2023, this planner that I was using. And I'm like, oh my God, Lord, it's going to be a year since I finished this, coming up August next month, and I was like, wow. And the first word that kept ringing in my ears was consistency. Consistency. Kiara, you gotta be consistent. I don't know about you, but how many of us struggle with this long C word? I'm sorry, I word, inconsistent. And I was like, Lord, Lord, help me with my inconsistencies. And I was able to reflect over different things I had challenged myself to do, and it didn't last long. And, obviously you guys don't know, but, I had my last two pregnancies, had 4 children altogether, but my last 2 pregnancies put a ton of weight on me. And I'm like, Kiara, your baby is 3 years old. Why you still got this weight on you? I have come down a lot. I've come down 50 pounds, and my goal is to get down another 50 pounds, but I slacked off severely beginning of this year because, things got in the way and it really caused me to be distracted. But I really had to, one thing that I want to say, if you have a problem, like the word I'm talking about today is being consistent or having inconsistencies in different areas of your life. One thing I want you to do is, and what I had to do for myself is, okay, now that I've established what the problem is, now I need to get to the root of the problem. And I was like, Lord, why am I so inconsistent with certain things like this in my life? And 3 things came to mind, and you may be able to, put your hand up with me, say, yeah, Kiara, girl, I am with you. One of the reasons I've been inconsistent, number 1, I don't see results quickly. I'm like, Lord, help me to get delivered from this microwavable mindset. Like, Kiara, it is not going to happen overnight. I know you're trying to lose 50 pounds, honey, but stop trying to, step on a scale and see if you shrunk, 3 pounds in 10 days. Be realistic. And honestly, you guys, that was such that felt like an immediate defeat to me getting on the scale. So months ago, I stopped stepping on the scale. When the battery died, I said, that's my cue. I don't need to step on the scale, because every time I step on it, trying to track, if I lost a pound, 2 pounds, and if I didn't see any changes, it would immediately discourage me. And so one of the root issues to my inconsistencies were I don't see results quickly. So God delivered me from this microwavable mentality. Another reason for my inconsistencies is I get impatient. Back to point 1, I got to be patient with myself. I got to be patient with the process. And I also need to be patient with the people who are a part of my process, because we ain't meant to do life by ourselves. We all need somebody. So I gotta be impatient, and first and mostly important, primarily what I'm trying to say, I need to be patient with myself. I gotta be patient with myself. I do have to consider other factors in my life. I have 5 children in my home, a husband, we got a fish, all of those things require my attention. So I gotta be patient with myself on top of, things I have to do with the ministry and just all of the things. But I gotta make sure I'm being patient with myself in the process while juggling everything else in the background. My third reason for my inconsistencies is I get distracted. Like I started out saying a couple of minutes ago, beginning of the year, I got distracted. I got sidetracked so much that it went, and it wasn't immediate. I just threw away with watching what I was eating and being consistent with walking. It was a little bit at a time. It was creeping up. So, this went, watching what I was eating. That went, not considering the sugar. And then next thing you know, the walking went. Then it was on walking here and there. And, so I got distracted, and obviously you guys, if you've lived a few days, we're going to get hit with distractions. But when the distractions come, I'm learning that even in the midst, when, the whirlwinds of life start, blowing around me, I got to make sure I find something to keep me focused. I got to stay focused. And so, yeah, that number 3 was distractions. And even though I'm relating this and I'm using an example for my weight, even with my hair, you guys, I got so impatient with my hair after I had my last 2 boys. I didn't even realize what postpartum hair loss was until it happened to me. And for like a year, I was shedding like a dog and just clumps of hair falling. And I got so discouraged because I wasn't seeing the results. Why is my hair still shedding? What's going on? And it was like 3:00 in the morning. And I'm in my bathroom in tears with the scissors in my hand. And I'm like, I'm just going to cut it all off. And thank God my mom happened to be visiting with us this particular time. And I went to the room and woke her up and said, Mom, I can't do this no more. I'm going to cut it off. And she put them scissors out of my hands and said, Kiara, don't do it. And I'm so glad that I didn't get impatient because I wasn't seeing the results quickly. I'm taking the iron, I'm doing this and drinking all the water, but thank God I waited and got down to the roots as to why I'm popping iron tablets like Skittles and not seeing the results. It was because my body wasn't absorbing it. So I just needed to add, some calcium and magnesium and other things to help my body absorb the iron. And I saw drastic results. And on top of that, putting dragon fruit onto my hair directly, immediate results. So I was getting, I wasn't seeing the results I want to see. Not that I had lost all my hair, but it was just thinning out. But that can come back. And so I'm so glad I didn't chop it all off and start back with the TWA. For those who don't know, it's called the teeny weeny afro. Start back over at my TWA that I did back, 6-7 years ago. So I'm so glad about that. But I'm saying all this to say, when we're talking about destroying poverty, I think we have to make sure that we understand that poverty, and, for me and maybe for you as well listening, that poverty didn't just start in your family like yesterday. It didn't happen when you were born. And for me, it didn't start when, I was born, my mom was born, grandma was born. Somewhere along the line, and I'm going to get into an episode about this. Where does the root of poverty come from, the curse of it? But somewhere along the line, one of our ancestors opened up the door, and got out of alignment with God. And I'm telling you that we don't get to pick and choose what the consequences are going to be when we dishonor the word of God. And so as breaking the poverty off my family, I have to understand that I got to be consistent. I gotta be patient with the process. That, yes, absolutely, God can come and flip, things over it in 24 hours overnight. And I absolutely believe that. And in addition to that, I got to remember that this wasn't something that happened overnight, and it might not, and it won't necessarily be an overnight case of me coming out of it. So I got to be consistent with tracking spending. I got to be consistent with budgeting. I got to be consistent with managing. I'm like, Lord, help me be a better manager. And even with our money, everything that we have comes from God. Everything that we have belongs to Him. So everything that He gives us, we need to give it back to God in return. God, help me be a good manager with my finances. Help me be a good manager with my children, with my family, with my household. Help me be a good manager. And y'all, I can't sugarcoat this. I'm like, Lord, help me. I need it. So one of the things that I was thinking about this morning as the Lord was helping me, Kia, if you need help with being consistent, how about set a system in place to help you stay consistent? Because I think, a lot of us struggle with it, and it's somewhere wired in our brains where this consistency is like a thorn in our side. So a couple of things, and I did start with one, which was, as I mentioned, my hair, is making sure I'm on track with deep conditioning my hair twice out the month. So I put that on my calendar. I put it on repeat. So every 2 weeks, I'm going to get an alert. Kiara, it's time for a deep conditioning. And so with other things, and then also, as I'm saying this, I want you to think about, if consistency has been a thorn in your side, I want you to think about what systems you can put in place to, in other words, to hold you accountable. If it's an individual, great. If it's a system, a technology, an app, a calendar, an alarm, hey Siri, if it's Siri, Siri, remind me look, Siri, stop. Siri is really listening right now. Okay. If it's, reminding me to do something, and I believe that putting a system in place to help stay consistent, that will really help your brain begin to program things. Like we don't need an alarm or a calendar to say, get up in the morning, brush your teeth. It's automatic. So I think over time, as we put these systems in place and it becomes habitual, becomes a habit, over a period of time, we might not need the calendar. We might not need the alarm. It's going to be like second nature to us. So I just wanted to share this real life challenge, but yes, I am overcoming it. And, I say, through Christ Jesus, I say, God, I can't do nothing without you. Lord, I need you for everything. And God, I want you. I don't just need you, God. I want you a part of this journey in every aspect of my life. And God, I need you to help me with this, and I want your help. So consider, if that's you with struggling with being consistent with any area of your life. If you're saving for a trip, you need to set aside, $20, put on your calendar, $20 in the piggy bank, put $20 in your top drawer, wherever you can put your $20 at where you can't touch it, to make sure you get help to stay disciplined. So I hope that this really, it helped you, because I'm telling you, it's helping me. So I got my deep conditioning routine in my calendar, and it has been working so far, so good. And I'm going to add a few things to my calendar to make sure I'm staying consistent and I have accountability partner as well. Staying consistent. We're going to get together and do some meal prepping, making sure, we're walking throughout the week. We're getting our exercise, because we got to keep our bodies up, you guys. Where God is taking His people, what God has for you to do on your assignment as being the one to bring in prosperity for your bloodline, you can only go as far as your body will take you. And we need our bodies to be great, okay? Inside out. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Prosperity is My Portion. I am Kiara Janae. Again, I have a new book out, you guys. Please go check it out. I'm going to be sharing some reviews on here as well, but it is on my website only, so they're at KiaraJanae.com, KeiraJaneh.com. Check out my new book. It's called Still Becoming. It's an inspiring and captivating journey on how I overcame brokenness and childhood trauma, and that which transformed my life into existence, to living on purpose. So if you would like to know more about that book, learn more about unlocking generational prosperity, head over to my website. I would love to have you join me over there. And if you have not joined Prosperity is My Portion podcast, if you have not followed this podcast yet, what are you waiting on? Go ahead, join me and others in taking the first steps towards a prosperous future. I want you to join, subscribe, all of the things, and become a part of a community dedicated to breaking the cycle of poverty. Because listen, together we can unlock generational prosperity that will evoke a life of wealth, worth, and wholeness. Grace and peace, you all. I will see you on the next episode. May God bless you in abundance.